Scope.
Here's your expectation on the way. Got to set this up for you. Could be a rainy commute in much of the Northeast. Soaking rains are moving your way. Hello, I'm Paul Emick.
And I'm Kim Perez. Now on the West Coast, you've had a very hot Sunday, but we'll begin this edition of WeatherScope with the flooding rains that have plagued Florida all week long. Tropical moisture continues to flow across the Florida Keys and into the southern part of the peninsula. This is Long Key, where heavy rain was falling on Highway 1 earlier in the day. It may have slowed traffic, but it didn't seem to affect your Sunday fishing trip. Well, skies cleared out over Tampa today, but there's still plenty of standing water. Heavy rains that began on Friday caused flooding that forced people from their homes. Some of them ventured back in their houses today to begin the tough job of cleaning up. That's the part that I would hate. Well, looking right now at Tampa, looking pretty good. So it looks like you'll get a chance here for the next day or two to get in there and do some cleaning up. In South Florida, though, around Miami, we're looking at the rain now coming in, looking pretty impressive here, probably even some lightning maybe with this. Around South Beach, now up towards Fort Lauderdale. And what's happening is that southwest flow aloft that was over Tampa yesterday has shifted southward. So that's why we're seeing South Florida getting the rainfall today. Now we do have a few thunderstorms along the coastal areas up towards Myrtle Beach and Wilmington, east of I-95. But if you are trying to get that last minute vacation in, you want to go out for that walk tonight, be a little bit careful. Some thunderstorms are heading off towards the east-northeast here. Now our upper level system that brought all the rain to Atlanta, all the rain to the southeast is finally heading towards the northeast, and we're seeing that here with some of the rain now moving up towards Roanoke and up towards Richmond. It was a little bit cool, and it still is cool in Atlanta. 67 right now, Birmingham 76 over where the cloud cover was today. Look at this, Raleigh-Durham 65. It was pretty cool. West of the area, though, it was pretty warm, and it still is pretty warm. 81 in New Orleans right now. So what happened? What's happening here in the east? We have a lot going on. This one system here, you can see the swirl here. This is that low that was cut off here. It's finally moving up towards the northeast because this front at the surface, but upper level low here, is pushing eastward, so it's going to give it the boot. It's finally heading off towards the northeast. Now, that means some wet weather for the northeast, though, unfortunately. The rain heading northward here along our front and also ahead of this next front coming in. So Pittsburgh, it looks like tonight it's going to be a rainy night all the way through the morning probably. And the rain should be heading into Boston later on tonight. So the commute in the morning is going to be pretty nasty along I-95, that's for sure. Heavy rain, you bet. We've had some heavy rain on Pittsburgh. Amounts, we're talking already Doppler estimates just south of Pittsburgh around 1.5 inches or so, and so we should start to increase that rain total here in the next hour or two. Now we have another front coming through, and we'll talk about that one in a second, but right now I wanted to show you the temperature is not too bad with the cloud cover in the 60s, 62 in New York right now, 57 in Boston. But here's our next system coming through. Right now, Indianapolis, we're looking at some rainfall. The front almost right over you right now. And then the rain advancing eastward. It'll be around Detroit here in the next half hour. And some winds. We're talking about some very gusty winds here, and Paul's going to touch on that a little bit. But let's watch the rain head off towards the east. Probably Cincinnati in the next half hour, so later on tonight, Cleveland and even Columbus. Right now, 59 in Indianapolis with some rain, 59 in Grand Rapids, 66 in Cleveland, a little bit warmer here in Lexington at 74. Let's talk about the West. Here's Paul.
That's right, Kim. You had some record-setting heat on the West Coast today and getting absolutely blown away with the big winds in the northern plains. Let's have a look, first of all, at the setup for some of this, the big wind machine. Places like Bismarck and Dickinson, your wind totals there, wind gusts over 40 miles an hour, around 48 miles an hour now at the Air Force Base there at Minot. What's up with that? Well, first of all, winds always blow from high to low. Main thing to remember here. And here's the deal. The closer that low and the high sit together, the tighter the pressure gradient. That's what powers those winds. There you see low pressure there. You see windy conditions here right between the two. That's the biggest spot of the wind. A lot of the wind is going to be kicking on, too. We'll even see some windy conditions from time to time as we push on into the day here in the northeast. You'll see some different changes there. Here's high pressure sprawling out, big sprawling dome and ascending air. It's a bit windy. It's also a bit cooler and drier in parts of Colorado, for example. I want to show another way to look at this. Anytime you see a weather map on the Weather Channel pop up, have a good look at this. The tighter these lines are together, That's the tighter the pressure gradient there. That means the windier conditions you'll see. Sometimes these things, especially wintertime, get really like piled up. You can barely see the difference between them. But if you look real close, you can see that that's where the windiest conditions are. When lightening up a bit, you see places like Colorado. The light winds will be significant for another reason, and I'll show you why in just a minute. But it is fairly dry, incredibly dry here, even along the coast. Very hot day. That high pressure did allow some warmth to return in toward Sacramento, San Francisco, L.A., San Diego. Just a lot of warm conditions here. Not much in the way of clouds. A little flow of moisture kind of north of Seattle. And not much happening here, except just right behind the front, just a residual moisture being squeezed out. But the cool air that's coming in, it's squeezing out what's left of the moisture. That's why in the Arrowhead of Minnesota, getting a shower or two. I talked about the heat. The heat is yet another big story of the day. Look at this, 90 to San Francisco, hot. Warm day at around the Golden Gate Rec area there. Sausalito, you had that heat too. LA, 99 around the Civic Center. Absolutely amazing, that kind of heat right now. Very dry still. Of course, you had some wet weather a few days back. You could use some more. 99, that's hot. San Diego, 79. Not bad there.